Hey guys, Josh Martelli here with Off-Road Racer. We are driving due east today out of San Diego to Ocotillo Wells, California to shake down the all-new 2021 Ram 1500 TRX. Alright, so about 4 years ago, Ram came out with the concept truck that was really built from the ground up to be the answer to the Ford Raptor. Essentially, they wanted to create a pre-runner style super truck that would go toe-to-toe with the reigning champion of that category. Now, this was designed from the ground up by the folks at FCA who wanted to build an answer to the Ford Raptor. Basically, they designed this truck from the ground up to be the Raptor killer. Heck, they even created a custom piece of artwork under the hood to acknowledge that battle. Now, in this category, there's really two other big players right now. Obviously, the Ford Raptor and the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. But what Dodge has done is really elevate the game here. This is the fastest, most powerful truck in class, and it's actually the fastest pickup truck ever made. 702 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds, and it'll run the quarter mile in an astonishing 12 seconds. This is one hell of a truck, and we're going to have a lot of fun today breaking this thing down. Now, the first thing you notice about the TRX when you hop in it is how nice this interior is, okay? This is not your dad's pickup truck from the 70s and 80s. This is like sitting in the cockpit of an F1 fighter jet. Everything in this truck has been really cleanly laid out. It's got all of the modern digital amenities that you would expect from a modern vehicle and a lot of the creature comforts that have been developed over the years in the Ram 1500 series. So sitting here in the cockpit, it's apparent that the engineers at FCA really put a lot of time and thought into this dash, the instrument cluster, the way that everything's laid out. Yeah, it's built loosely on the 1500 dash, but they went a little bit overboard here in creating these beautiful instrument clusters and LCD panels, which you use to run your navigation and all your electronic components. So the TRX is sitting on 35-inch Goodyear tires, 15-inch wheels, and it's got about 11 inches of ground clearance with 13 inches of suspension travel. What we're anxious or curious to test today is how well it does in the soft sand and the loose dirt, because that's a decent amount of clearance if you're talking about a couple feet, a foot of snow, mud, sand, but that's not a lot of clearance for hardcore off-roading out here in Southern California, Nevada, Arizona deserts, right? The rocks and the conditions that we run in often command 20 to 24 inches of suspension travel, or you really start doing damage to the bottom of your truck. So if we're talking about a category killer here, and Dodge is essentially saying this is the best of the best, then we really have to put that to the test. Now, there's a couple things that Dodge has taken criticism for on the TRX already, and the biggest one is the price point. This truck starts at $70,000 and quickly gets in the $80,000, $90,000 range when you start adding a lot of the accessory packages, the tow package, and some of these other amenities. This model we're testing today is well equipped in the $90,000 range. So this is really targeted towards a very specific type of buyer. Not everybody can drop 90 grand on a super truck, but Dodge didn't set out to become the cheapest, and they didn't set out to become the least equipped and most affordable. It's pretty clear when you get into this truck that they literally sat down and went through every aspect of the Raptor and the Tundra and came up with a game plan for making the best of the best. And that's what we're seeing here today. Now, I'm coming in at 6'2", over 250 pounds. I'm a really broad-shouldered dude, and when I get into these trucks, I can tell usually right away whether they're going to be comfortable on a long drive or whether I'm really going to be cramped up and sore after 15-20 minutes in the truck. These seats feel immaculate. They hug you like a leather glove. There's infinite amount of adjustability here. I'm just really comfortable right off the bat with the way the truck drives. What I'm happy to report is I've been driving this thing for about an hour now, and it drives absolutely beautifully through these mountain windy roads. It's got absolute ton of power, but with these 15-inch brakes, it also has a lot of stopping power. It feels really smooth to drive, and it's predictable, right? It's a heavy truck, so it's going to push itself through the corners when you let off the gas, and I've found it really easy to get comfortable with the drive right off the bat. It's funny, you know, on these roads, the TRX actually feels more like a high-performance sports car than it does a truck. It's got lots of power. I mean, probably more power than you need, certainly more than I'm used to having, but it's also a very drivable vehicle, right? The steering and the suspension work really well in and out of sharp turns, and that's just making it pleasant to drive. All right, so first impressions of this TRX in the dirt, pretty impressive. I mean, all that power is definitely making it to all four wheels, and I'm just in the basic four-wheel auto mode right now. We haven't even jumped into some of the deeper customized off-road settings. So here in this piece of property in Ocotillo, what you have is this hard pack with, you know, pretty decent sized gravel, but we're gonna make our way out here to the hills a little bit. There's a couple sections of whoops out here that we like to run too, and just see how the TRX handles it. Look it, anybody can take these trucks out to a little patch of dirt and call that an off-road test, but the spot we're at is actually a really well-known proving ground for a lot of these super trucks. This is not the first super truck to be out on this property, and it sure won't be the last. And that's because we just have a wide variety of terrain out here. Right now we're on this lower hard pack stuff with a couple inches of sand, but we're gonna take it back a little deeper and see how she does in the thicker ruts and see if she can take the beating. So one of the things you always have to consider when you're out off-roading is approach angles, and that's really just how steep the terrain is relative to the clearance of the front of the truck or Jeep or whatever it is you're off-roading in. That is a factor to consider for sure if you're going to be doing some pretty serious crawling. Now, my experience has been with these super trucks, they do okay with approach angle, but they're not great. There's definitely, you know, advantages to be had if you have bigger, taller suspension, bigger wheels and tires, and more clearance on the fender well. So, you know, we're driving around in a $91,000 truck, and I do feel nervous about smashing the front end of this thing. So that's just something to keep in mind, again, when you're evaluating what the best truck is for you. You know, how hard are you really going to beat on something when you have to drive it to work on Monday? All right, you guys, that's what it looks like when the all-new Ram 2021 TRX eats Ocotillo for lunch. Really impressed with this truck. Comfortable on the inside, but very capable in the dirt. We were a little worried that 13 inches of suspension travel wouldn't be enough to handle some of the whoops out here, but it ate them up. Gotta be honest, I'm really impressed with the suspension on this thing. Comfortable the whole time, never once felt like we lost control, stability, felt like we were gonna tip. Tons of power for days, more power than you need out here. So really impressed. Now this has a wide footprint, so for some of these canyons and some of these ridge lines, it's going to be a little bit too wide to bring a truck out here and run all of this. You're going to need to stick with the UTV, but overall just super impressed. Dodge is taking a hit on this in a couple different places. On the price, $70,000 to $90,000, that's really expensive. Obviously that's the top of the market for the truck buyers. And they're taking a few hits on a few of the little details. You know, one of the things we noticed in the backside, the bed of the truck, is that there's no power outlets. The tailgate's fairly simple. We feel like at the $90,000 point, there should be an automatic rollaway bed cover. It shouldn't be an accessory that you have to buy after the fact. Then again, on the inside, tons of options. USB, USB-C, multiple power plugs in the front, in the back. Just little touches like that that really make this truck feel really refined and finished and just really well thought out. Overall, we'd give this a 9 out of 10, a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it's a recommended buy. If you're in the market for a super truck and you've got $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 to spend, this is probably the last truck you're gonna need for a good 5-6 years. It's got everything you're looking for. So special thanks goes out to Dodge for letting us bang around in this beautiful TRX today. You guys, be sure to come to offroadracer.com every week. Check out news articles, product reviews, and tons of vehicle features. Anything and everything to do with the off-road industry.